And I could even understand why maybe a campaign manager might call around and to pundits and say, hey, help us out. That'd be a weird request. But I find it concerning, as I know you do too, that nonpartisan civil servants would be phoning professors and pundits and saying, hey, come on, you're saying the wrong thing. It's going to be hard for Trudeau to get reelected. That doesn't sound like the Canadian way.
Yeah, no, I would call this interference laundering. The government is trying to interfere in people's freedom of expression, but they don't want it to appear as though Trudeau or one of his direct minions is doing it themselves. They want it to appear as though Global Affairs Canada, the old Foreign Affairs Department, is doing it. So they have an assistant deputy minister in Global Affairs phone David Mulroney, who is no relation to Brian Mulroney, David Mulroney, who's our former ambassador to China, and Guy Saint-Jacques, who is another former ambassador to China, and say, you know, given these are direct quotes, election environment, we would be happier if you wouldn't say anything negative that would come back negatively on the government. Well, there's so many things wrong with this. First of all, both men are academics now, so you're sort of meddling with academic independence. They're both private citizens now. They're no longer federal civil servants, and they don't take an oath that lasts for a lifetime. Like if you are in the intelligence services, there are things you cannot ever talk about, period. Doesn't matter how many years you've been out, how many years you've been retired, there are certain things you simply can't talk about. These guys aren't covered by any of that. They were bureaucrats and diplomats. They weren't spies. So they're not covered by that. So that's wrong as well. The other thing that's wrong about this, and you probably remember vividly, right after Trudeau was sworn in, I think it was 2 days after he was sworn in 2015, he went to the Pearson Block, which is the home of Canada's Foreign Affairs Department, now called Global Affairs. And there was a rock star reception for him. There's an atrium in the middle of the building, and people lined the outside of the balconies all the way up to the top of the building to cheer and yell and, oh, hey, it's Justin Trudeau here. Oh, the bad Stephen Harper days are gone. And I think ever since that time, a large chunk of people in global affairs, not by any means all of the people in global affairs, but a large chunk of them have been quite happy to be the diplomatic arm of the Liberal Party of Canada, not of the government of Canada. And you remember too that John McCallum, the minister that the Liberals had to lean on to leave, they had to pressure him to leave, even though I don't think they really wanted him to leave. He was advising the Chinese government on things it could do to help the Liberals get reelected in Canada. So it's very incestuous. It's a snake pit of counter influences and meddling, and that's just the latest of the Liberal efforts to limit free speech.
That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant show. Every day I do a video monologue and then I interview an interesting guest. And then I end by reading my hate mail, but you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at therebel.media/shows.